Mangwana ni malelepo vukenjani class wanawe Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning on Friday, the 22nd of October 2021. It's always exciting to bring you the news from the SADC region and beyond. My name is Ashwin Betty and this is Aina Raiza Kweo.
The weekend is finally here. Halala! Today is International Stuttering Day. Stuttering is a communication disorder involving disruptions or disfluencies in a person's speech. But there are nearly as many ways to stutter as there are people who stutter. And here is more on International Stuttering Day. Welcome back to Africa Good Morning. Youth yearning for independence fuel Western Sahara clashes. For nearly 30 years, this swath of North Africa desert about the size of Colorado that sits on a vast phosphate deposit faces rich fishing grounds and it is believed to have offshore oil reserves, has existed in limbo, awaiting a referendum that was supposed to let the local Sahrawi people decide their future. Instead, as negotiations over who could be allowed to vote dragged on, Morocco tightened its control of the territory, which was a Spanish colony until 1975. Last year, the Polisario Front announced that it was no longer abide by the 1991 ceasefire that ended its 16-year guerrilla war with Morocco. The decision was fueled by frustrations among younger Sahrawi, many of whom were born in refugee camps in Algeria, have never lived in their ancestral homeland, and are tired of waiting for the UN-promised referendum.
Zambia arrests 14 government officials over corruption. Zambia's anti-corruption agency has arrested 14 former and current government officials over graft offenses. Former Southern Province Permanent Secretary Sibanze Simuchoba and 2 other officials were arrested for failure to follow applicable procedures in the manner they authorized transfer of funds from a named account without the approval of the Secretary to the Treasury. 11 other officials from Choma District were arrested for fraudulent false accounting. The 14 are expected to appear in court on November 3, according to the ACC statement. President Hakainde Hichilema's government has placed the fight against corruption on top of its agenda, vowing to expose and punish both past and current offenders.
In our next story, Eswatini tells mobile operators to suspend Facebook access after protests. Mobile operators in the Southern African Kingdom of Eswatini have been told to suspend access to Facebook and its messenger app, the local unity of telecom group said after protests against the King flared up. MTN Eswatini said it had implemented the directive from the country's Communications Commission to suspend Facebook access with immediate effect and until further notice. It did not say what the reason the Commission gave for this order. Eswatini government spokesperson Sabelo Dlamini referred all questions to the Communications Ministry. A senior official there was not immediately available when called by Reuters seeking comment.
Nearly 103 million COVID-19 vaccinations administered across the African continent. As of 18 October 2021, confirmed cases of COVID-19 from 55 countries reached 8,430,779, while over 102,872,162 vaccinations have been administered across the continent. Reported deaths in Africa reached 215,502. 2022, and 7,770,468 people have recovered. South Africa has the most reported cases with 2,916,593 and 88,612 people have died. Other most affected countries are Morocco, Tunisia, Ethiopia, Libya, Egypt, and Kenya. The numbers are compiled by the Center for Systems Science and Engineering at Johns Hopkins University using statistics from the World Health Organization and other international institutions, as well as national and regional public health departments.
Rwanda prosecutor to appeal verdict for Hotel Rwanda hero. Rwandan prosecutors said on Wednesday they would appeal against a 25-year jail sentence handed to Paul Rusesabagina, a one-time hotel manager portrayed as a hero in a Hollywood film about the 1994 genocide. The prosecutor had sought a life sentence for Rusesabagina, who's 67, a vocal critic of President Paul Kagame. A Rwandan court found him guilty of terrorism charges on 20th September after a trial that his supporters branded as sham and proof of Kagame's ruthless treatment on political opponents. A statement tweeted by the Prosecutor General Office did not say why it was making the appeal. Neither the Prosecutor General's Office nor the Rwandan government could immediately be reached for comment on the matter. Rusesabagina's daughter Karine Kanimba, contacted by Reuters after the Prosecutor General's tweet, said that the move showed that the trial of her father was politically motivated.
Leading member of African-based Al-Qaeda affiliate killed. Nasser al-Tegui, a leading member of the African-based Al-Qaeda affiliate Katiba Serma, was killed last week in Mali after an airstrike by Bakane military forces, said the French army on Thursday. Katiba Serma is an armed group affiliated with Al-Qaeda. Operation Bakane, under which France has about 5,100 soldiers deployed across 5 countries in the Sahel region, south of the Sahara Desert, was launched in 2014 to combat the jihadi insurgency there.
In Egypt, 17 are killed in a car crash. At least 17 people were killed as a truck collided with a passenger microbus near the Egyptian capital, Cairo. Egypt's state-run Al-Ram news website reported on Wednesday. The accident took place on a ring road on the outskirts of Cairo towards the 6th of October city, where security and traffic officers immediately hurried to the scene, according to the report. Over the past few years, Egypt has been upgrading its road networks and building new roads and bridges. In October last year, Egyptian Ministry of Planning and Economic Development said that the deaths caused by traffic accident in the country decreased from 12,000 in 2019 to 7,000 in 2020.
A year after the Lagos bloodshed, Nigerians say police reform promises prove hollow. Demonstrators said soldiers and police opened fire on 20 October 2020, though both denied using live rounds. Rights group Amnesty International said 12 protesters were killed in 2 districts that night, triggering the worst street unrest since Nigeria returned to civilian rule in 1999. The government has never acknowledged the extent of the violence, but it has promised to transform policing, including meeting the demonstrators' demand to shut down the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Activists say those government promises have proven hollow. SARS has largely been reconstituted under another name, and abuses are being perpetrated by other units with impunity. On Wednesday, Information Minister Lai Mohammed said government and police were taking steps, some not publicized, to address police brutality. These include establishing judicial panels and promises that states would indict police for crimes. We are committed to ensuring a comprehensive police reform, Mohammed said.
Senegal seizes record 2 tons of cocaine off Atlantic coast. Senegal seized more than 2 tons of pure cocaine from a ship off its Atlantic coast, the Navy said on Tuesday, in the West African country's largest ever cocaine bust. The 2,026 kg of cocaine was found on a ship 363 kilometers off the coast by naval forces, backed by air support from the French Air Force, the Navy said in a statement. The ship had 5 crew members aboard, it added. Drug smugglers typically use West Africa as a transshipment point for cocaine and route from South America to Europe. In January, authorities in neighboring Gambia seized nearly 3 tons of cocaine from the shipment of industrial salt originating in Ecuador.
Across Africa, major churches still strongly oppose LGBTQ rights. In Ghana, home to a diverse array of religions, leaders of major churches have united in denouncing homosexuality as a perversion. In Nigeria, the umbrella body for Christian churches depicts same-sex relationships as an evil meriting and lengthy prison sentences prescribed under existing law. In 2014, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni signed a harsh anti-gay law that in its original version prescribed the death penalty for some homosexual acts. In all of Africa, only one nation, South Africa, has legalized same-sex marriage. Even there, gay and lesbian couples often struggle to be accepted by churches, let alone have their marriages solemnized by clergy. South Africa's Anglican Archbishop Desmond Tutu, world-renowned for his opposition to apartheid, has been outspoken as a supporter of LGBTQ rights. "I would not worship a God who is homophobic," he once said. "I would refuse to go to a homophobic heaven. No, I would say sorry. I would much rather go to the other place," said Archbishop Desmond Tutu.
In our next story, Ghanaian prophet arrested for prophesying death of popular musician. Ghanaian prophet Stephen Akwasi, better known as Jesus Ahufe, has been picked up by the police following his prophecy that Shatta Wale will be shot by unknown assailants. This comes barely 24 hours after rumors went viral that Shatta Wale had been shot by some unknown gunmen. One of his team members, Nyanya Dope, alleged that Shatta Wale was ambushed by gunmen, but he managed to escape and was battling for his life at a health facility. The pastor on the 28th of September 2021 prophesied that the dancehall artist will be shot on the 18th of October 2021. 3 men in civilian outfits and a driver in police uniform are said to have made the arrest at a time the pastor was waiting to appear on a show. Reports indicate he had been taken to the police headquarters in Accra for questioning. This is at a time the police say they went to the musician's house through their investigations, and a number of health facilities could not find him.
Terrible. You know, I'd just like someone to prophesy the end of COVID-19. Let's prioritize the global mission right now. Until then, get vaccinated. In our last top story, Kinshasa clean up. Plastic means money and a mission. Beneath the large hangar of the Clean Pass company in Kinshasa, about 20 men wearing green t-shirts and red gloves sift through the waste and sort it by type of plastic and color. Located in the working class and deprived neighborhood of Kingabwa, Clean Pass employs about 100 people, and its plastic recycling plant is still operating at only 20% of capacity, according to Technical Director Jagdeep Apanja. In Kinshasa, there have been many private initiatives by environmental protection organizations, but the problem has not been solved. In October 2019, President Felix Tshisekedi launched Kin Bobeto, or Clean Kinshasa. Since then, only a few garbage cans have been installed in some neighborhoods of Kinshasa, where 9,000 tons of waste are produced daily, according to the city council. All right, this is Tour Africa. Good morning. We have so much more news for you after the break. Now, Africa Good Morning has been trying for some time now to get hold of Ambassador Penda Nanda, who is the Executive Director of the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation. He is an extremely busy civil servant, but was finally able to make some time available to us. While it is not a live interview this morning, it is still an interview that was not cut or changed so as to allow you to hear what the ambassador had to tell us as regards to his involvement in terms of being responsible for all liaison with the Southern African Development Community, SADC. He unfortunately pointed us to his correct title only during the show. We'd like to sincerely apologize for using the wrong title. But here is a conversation with Ambassador Penda Nanda.
Right, welcome. As you can see, I'm here in the studio, not the normal AGM team. So I've been on, running after Ambassador Penda Nanda. He's the Executive Director for the SADC. And like I said, I tried to get a hold of him, and he's a very, very busy man. That's why I won't waste too much of his time right now. So we've pre-recorded this interview for you to see tomorrow morning, or for you now. So as you can imagine, him being so busy, first of all, let me welcome him on the show.
Thank you very much.
Hi,
I really appreciate it. And just for the correction, I'm actually the Executive Director in the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation.
Okay.
I'm not the Executive Director of SADC. SADC is headed by the Executive Secretary, who is based at the SADC headquarters in Gaborone, Botswana. But of course, I'm the SADC focal point in Namibia.
Oh, so that is where your executive position comes in for Namibia.
Exactly.
Okay, so maybe while we're at it, don't you want to quickly, in a few words, just describe who you are, what your work entails, and where you fit in with SADC?
My name is Penda, as indicated earlier. I'm the Executive Director in the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation, and also the then SADC focal point. I started my diplomatic career in South Africa, where I was First Secretary. I moved on to Vienna at the IAEA, where I went to New York, where I was the Deputy Ambassador. And then I became a full-fledged ambassador when I represented Namibia at the United Nations of Geneva.
Okay, and so where's your role? To what extent are you involved with SADC on a daily basis?
As a SADC focal point, my responsibility is to communicate with SADC. When they send their communication to Namibia, we have various sectors: trade, agriculture, industry, tourism. And so I'm then the focal point in making sure that all these sectors come together. When they come together, they implement the decisions of SADC. So I have to make sure that the decisions of SADC are implemented on the developmental level. And of course, SADC has also a political level where we have the SADC organ on politics, defense, and security. And so this ministry then, the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation, coordinates. And if we have to be like currently, we are in the Troika. We are the incoming chair, which means next year we will be the chair of the Troika. And so at the senior officials level, I will be the one chairing the meeting of the senior officials when it comes to preparing for the ministers. And then the ministers will then prepare for the presidents to meet. And so next year would be Namibia coordinating the senior officials, the ministerial meeting, as well as at the summit level, the president.
Okay, so Mr. Ambassador, maybe you can just give us a rough idea. Why is it so important that Namibia is part of the SADC, and where do we expect benefits and major advantages?
No, Namibia cannot develop in isolation. As indicated, SADC is the development arm of the region. And so the main objectives then would be to achieve economic development, peace, security, and growth. in our effort to alleviate poverty. And so we have to enhance the standard of living and the quality of life of the people of Southern Africa, and support socially disadvantaged through regional integration. And so it's really a bloc that is working together in unison to achieve one objective.
So it's really strength and unity. And speaking of that, where does Namibia materially contribute towards the SADC?
Yeah, no, Namibia contributes because as a member, let me say that we have what we say roads that are leading into SADC. We have the Trans-Kalahari Highway, we have the Trans-Caprivi Highway, and these are routes meant to link SADC countries in order to realize exports and trade among each other. And so at the moment, Namibia enjoys free trade access to SADC member states' economies. And within SADC, of course, the target is to deepen economic integration, as I indicated earlier, and to ensure that there is a free trade area among the economies of the 16 member states of SADC. And also for SADC to then become self-reliant, a self-reliant bloc that is not reliant on other countries. And so the main focus here is for industrialization, really, for us to be self-sufficient.
So one last question before we leave you, because obviously you are on the run already. Can you maybe just quickly explain to our listeners, what is the Troika of the SADC all about, and how does it work in terms of appointments and to make sure that each country gets its fair share in turn?
Yes, no, we give each other chances to be in the Troika. And Troika refers to the outgoing chair, incoming chair, and the current chair. And so this is it was deliberately done in order to have institutional memory from the outgoing chair, who was chairing previously, and then to have the incoming chair to start grasping the issues that are on the table in preparation for this chair when the chair takes over the following year. And so it's really an arrangement that we have decided that each country will get an opportunity to chair the Troika, to chair the organ. So everyone has a fair chance of coordinating the activities of the organization.
So it is not so much necessarily an election process, but rather each country having its turn, with the chairman that is currently serving having the benefit of relying on the previous chairman and already preparing himself or herself for the role of past chairman, and to then support the person thereafter.
Exactly.
So thank you very much for this insight, and hopefully we'll speak to you again, because like I discussed last with you, I feel there's a real need for people to understand how SADC works, and seeing that Africa Good Morning gets around to all these people in Southern Africa, it might be a good idea to have these talks more regularly.
No, thank you, and I really appreciate, and thank you to the listeners. We are always readily available. I think in the future, we'll make it a point, even if we have to come into the studio. We are available because our purpose here is to make our population understand the workings of the ministry and the working of our regional organizations, because there are many people out there who do not realize that the foreign policy of the country is an extension of the domestic policy. In order to have the foreign policy, you must have a domestic policy to which you are reacting to. Because in order to alleviate poverty, when you go out there, you are reacting to something happening at home. And so I really appreciate you in that regard.
Okay, thank you once again, and have a good day. Goodbye.
Thank you, same to you. Bye-bye.
welcome back to Africa. Good morning. Masego Mokwasa, all the way in Botswana, is here to tell us about the hit and run robberies on cash in transit vehicles around the capital that the police are investigating. Masego, good morning. How are you? Please unpack what you have for us.
Good morning, Africa, and hello to you, Ashton and Aina in studio. So Botswana has been faced with a very big problem. As you might know, Botswana is known for being a peaceful and safe country. However, recently armed robbers continue to stage heists, overpowering security company guards, making off with large sums of money almost every week. The police have expressed concern over the growing offense during the pandemic following the Friday morning cash in transit heist at Middle Star Shopping Complex in Gaborone. Central Police Station Commander Superintendent Muthusi Padi said a cash in transit van was robbed at gunpoint around 10 a.m., leaving people reeling in shock. The heist occurred 5 days after another G4S cash in transit van was also robbed at gunpoint at Game City Mall, and the robbers made off with undisclosed amounts of cash. A week before that, at the same mall, a security services cash in transit van was also robbed gunpoint, with the arm getting a 3 and 5,000 pula 540. That the guards had finished collecting from the Concordant Holdings in Block 3, Four's Supermarket Boroni West Industrial, and Pick and Pay in Game City. Then the police have been on alert to find and arrest suspects, but no avail. Yes, we are investigating another candidate heist in which three men overpowered G4S security guards and made off with the cash amounting to over 7 bula, which G4S security guards and made off. Yes, G4S guards were supposed to load up in an 8 by Middle Star Mall prior to the robbery period. How the economy, when investors don't, if they don't feel safe enough to
Yes.
invest in the country.
Indeed, truly disturbing developments. Now, in your second story, the Special Economic Zone Authority takes a focus on the town of Lobatse. Could you tell us about that? Hi,
Yes,
Maseko, can
a
you
few
hear?
years
Can you hear
ago,
me?
this special economic established in Sikwe reported a small mine that has seen a collapse. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please do continue.
Yes. Started last week. A mine called Siliwe Pikwe has benefited from this special economic zone project. And now another town, Lobatse, is going to benefit from this project. The economy of Lobatse is expected to receive a boost from newly unveiled plans for further value addition at the Botswana Meat Commission. These plans include the launch of new products and derivatives from existing raw materials. The border town's economy has been struggling for years. Industries have underperformed, while other critical activities such as the High Court have moved to Gaborone. Ndioka noted that and blood meal had a potential of over 12 million pula, while the tallow had a potential of over 9 million pula through the production of value-added biodiesel and bone china tableware. The manufacturing of bone china involves the crushing, degelatizing, and calcinating of cattle bones to produce bone ash.
Yes.
Production of bone china is labor intensive, and the final product is highly prized. It goes globally considered luxury. Meanwhile, BMC Waste has the potential to produce over 2,000 cubic meters of biogas per day,
All
capable
right.
of
Sorry, Maseko.
generating over 4,000
Sorry,
kilowatts
Maseko. I'll
of
need to cut you
electricity.
off there. All right. Thank you, Maseko. Sorry, our time ran out there, but thank you very much for
Okay.
bringing us the news from Botswana.
Thank you for having me today, guys. Back to you.
All right. One thing about media and information, it's always better to have more information than less, and that's why we love Masejo Mohwasa. This is still Africa Good Morning. Something else we love is good weather. Forecast up next. Welcome back to Africa Good Morning. Right now, we're going to cross over to Rundu and have a chat with Mr. Kenya Kambowe as he lets us know about the happenings over there. Good morning, Kenya. How are you?
Good morning, Ashwin, and how are you?
We are fantastic. Now, your first story is slightly disturbing, to say the least. The body of a man was found in the Okavango River without testicles, nipple, and foreskin. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, thank you very much. Basically, what happened in this regard is that the body of Engidius Kayanguya, a 35-year-old male, was found floating in the Kavango River last week, Monday, after he allegedly went into Angola and got arrested, and subsequently he never returned home. So now the only version of the story is available is that of the friend who accompanied him to Angola, allegedly to go and buy the Angolan whiskey, but they were apparently apprehended by the police at the Dam border post, whereby the deceased apparently asked to go and relieve himself, and that was the last time he was seen before he was discovered with his body parts, which included his testicles being squeezed out, one of his nipples being cut off, one of his veins also cut, as well as there are some allegations that his tongue was also removed, but the police haven't confirmed that for now. And also this morning, I managed to speak to Deputy Commissioner Shilelo in regards to the incident as to the latest updates. He told me nothing new has happened because most of the incident, the crime happened actually on the Angolan side. So basically, the Namibian police are just waiting to get information from the Angolan authorities. Yeah, in that regard.
Okay.
All right, in your second story, the filthiness of the Rundu streets. Please tell us more.
I wish Rundu can do something better, because this is it's an eyesore. If you drive around Rundu, that is what you will see, like the photos that are being displayed. It's very bad. The town council is unable to collect waste from the streets because of their skipper contract, which has been out of service for the past month. So it means that people go to the roadside, dump their waste, and that's what happens. Every street has become a mini dumping site, and it's a very eyesore, especially for investors who want to come to the town, tourists who are driving through. It's a very eyesore feeling, and that's why the local authority is struggling to attract or keep this town clean.
It's truly worrying, and the news doesn't get much better because the water in the Okavango River is subsiding. Could you expand on that?
Yes, basically I was driving along the third road going to Kurenkuru side, and I observed, especially at Kapako area, whereby you can see the sand in the middle of the river, which basically means that people can now walk. The water is. I even attempted to cross the river, which is not supposed to happen, but it was on knee level. So basically, when the water subsides in the Kavango River, it leaves a room for a lot of dangers for our country, because it's a threat to our national security, because anyone can come in. The other issue is also the issue of illegal crossing. Now people are no more afraid to go into Angola, because the water, both Angolans and Namibians, they can now cross without passing through the gazetted entry points. And the other issue is the issue of FMD. As you know, that the Namibian side, Namibia, we try by most means to vaccinate our cattle and all that, but our Holland side, they hardly vaccinate. So there's a threat for our meat industry, whereby cattle, people go and graze in Angola because the grazing is bad that side. But the consequence is that their cattle can get FMD from this side and bring it to Namibia, and which leads to sometimes our towns being locked down and people cannot trade inside in the country. Maybe just issue of criminal activities. You see, as people, if you are going to another country to buy stock to come and do trading, you have to pay some fees to the custom officials. But with the water subsiding the river, people now just cross over, go and get their consignments, and the country lose out on the revenue. As you can see, we are facing a dangerous situation in terms of our economy. So those little money can maybe do something to our coffers.
All right. Truly disturbing stories, but you know what, Kenya, we trust you to bring you the news as it is, and for that we are grateful. Thank you for joining us on Africa Good Morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, this is still Africa Good Morning. We're going to take a short break, and after that, your economic news stories.
Strike it gold and win 5,000 Namibian dollars in cash with Neo Paints. Simply buy Neo Paints products from the selected range and stand a chance to get one of 12 mystery buckets filled with gold paint. All 12 winners will each get 3 extra paint buckets equal to their purchase. One to replace the gold paint, the second to use on your project, and the third to give to a charity of their choice. One winner can score another 10,000 Namibian dollars by showing us your creative use of the golden paint. The best project wins the cash. Offer is valid from 27 September to 18 December at your favorite hardware store nationwide. Visit us at neopaints.com for more competition details and follow us on Facebook for weekly competition updates. Neo Paints, a coat of excellence.
Welcome back to Africa Good Morning. It's time for us to dive straight into your economic news stories. We start off in Egypt as the economy forecast is to grow 5.1% in year to June, 5.5% in 2022-2023. Egypt's economy will grow 5.1% in the fiscal year that ends in June 2022, but accelerates to 5.5% in each of the following 2 years as tourism continues to rebound and the effects of the coronavirus pandemic wane, a Reuters poll showed. Tourism revenue plummeted to $4.9 billion in 2020-2021 from $9.9 billion a year earlier. Egypt's annual inflation rose to 6.6% year-on-year in September, its highest in 20 months, from 5.7% in August, mainly due to rising food prices, the state statistics agency CAPMAS said this month.
Exxon reduces production at shared oil field following workers' protests. ExxonMobil said on Wednesday it had temporarily cut back production at its unit in Chad and reduced staffing in the country to essential personnel following workers' protests against a proposed sale of its stake in the Donda oil field. Local workers have held strikes and protests since June over Exxon talks with UK-based Savannah Energy to sell its 40% stake in the field and its 40% interest in the Chad-Cameroon oil field transportation pipeline. The workers say Excon has refused to guarantee they would be paid severance benefits if the concession is sold to another company and they are laid off.
Nigeria Tax Dispute Tribunal rules in favor of MultiChoice. The Lagos zone of the Tax Appeal Tribunal has ruled that MultiChoice Nigeria has fulfilled the conditions required for the hearing of its appeal against the 1.8 trillion naira tax bill slammed on it by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. MultiChoice had filed an appeal before TAT over a perceived wrongful assessment spanning a 10-year period. MultiChoice further stated that in fulfillment of the condition and demonstration of good faith, it deposited 10 billion naira with the FIRS pending the determination of the actual tax liability, if any. Delivering ruling on the objection raised by the FIRS, the tribunal held, it is obvious that the appellant has not only complied with the orders of this court, but has also provided sufficient evidence before this tribunal that they are credible and ready to pursue this matter with all sense of responsibility and seriousness.
Climate change threatens up to 118 million over Africa's poor. Climate change will expose up to 118 million extremely poor Africans to drought, floods, and extreme heat by 2030 if it is not addressed urgently. It could cut gross domestic product by up to 3% by 2050, and East Africa's iconic mountain glacier are disappearing. Unpacking the implication of the development of the people of the continent, Josefa Lionel Korea Sako, Commissioner of the Rural Economy and Agriculture with the African Union Commission, said weather and climate changes are disrupting lives and economies. By 2030, she wrote, it is estimated that up to 118 million extremely poor people will be exposed to drought, floods, and extreme heat in Africa if adequate response measures are not put in place.
Mozambique, 160 forestry companies in Sofala fined around 13 million meticais this year. 160 forestry companies in Sofala were fined around 13 million meticais, or $203,665 this year for various irregularities. According to the delegate of the National Agency for the Control of Environmental Quality in Sofala, Morgado Musengwe, most of the companies penalized are Chinese-owned. Musengwe says that inspection in the districts with most illegal logging has been reinforced. But that alone is not enough, Musengwe says, insisting that the involvement of communities in the fight against the illegal exploitation of forestry resources is essential. All right, that brings us to the end of our economic news stories. Your sports stories will be coming soon, but before that, economic indicators.
Welcome back to Africa Good Morning. And now every Friday we bring you nicely packaged sports update. And who better than Ari Holhad to deliver? Good morning, Ari. Please take it away.
Yes, very good morning. It's great to talk sport again on this Friday. It's the week went quickly, and a big weekend for cricket and a big weekend for Namibia. Well, actually a big day for Namibia today. Namibia play Ireland today and hopefully if they can win, or they need to win to advance to the next stage of the Cricket World Cup T20s that's being played in Oman and in Saudi Arabia. And they play Ireland, and that game is 12 p.m. today. And the big day, because if they can go through, they will they will join the teams in Group B probably. That will be New Zealand, Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan in the next phase of the Cricket World Cup. A tough game for them. They play against Ireland. That is a very strong team as well, with lots of international experience. That is David Wiese there in action against the Netherlands. Namibia beat the Netherlands 2 days ago. So the permutations today is the winner between Namibia and Ireland will go through, and they will join probably in Group B. It's probable that Sri Lanka will continue to win against the Netherlands, and the winner will play in Group B then with the New Zealand, Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan. On the other side, the qualifiers that finished yesterday, it was Bangladesh and also Scotland that went through. They're the two teams that join Group A in the Super 12, and that is also a strong group that consists of Test nations England, West Indies, Australia, and South Africa. So it's a tough group for them. Bangladesh will join that group, Group A. So all to play for. 12 p.m. Southern African time is the first ball going to be bowled. That is Namibia playing against Ireland today. So let's hope all the best for Namibia. On to some soccer news, and Ashwin, it is Arsenal that play tonight, so you can manage your weekend a little bit better. All is done this evening. You will know what to expect, between the two of them, but very significant in the title race at the moment. Both of them very high in the top four at the moment in the English Premier League. And then just maybe some other news from the British or from the English Premier League is that Newcastle, that just got a massive investment from a Saudi Arabian consortium. They're talking to the former Roma coach, that is Fonseca, to maybe join them as the coach. And then also in the Europe Conference League, it was Jose Mourinho, that is a very high-profile coach. He's coaching Roma at the moment. He got his biggest loss in all of his soccer coaching. He lost by 6-1 against Boda Glimt. And maybe if you haven't heard of Gloma Glimt, they are a Norwegian soccer team. So not a good result for Jose Mourinho. Quickly, also United States is where the Formula One Grand Prix is going to be this weekend on Sunday. So that is in Austin. It is called the Circuit of the Americas. It is in Austin, Texas. It is very tight at the top at the moment. Max Verstappen leads just by 6 points over Lewis Hamilton. And the exciting thing about this Grand Prix is there will be 120,000 fans probably today and tomorrow at the circuit. And on race day on Sunday, they expect 140,000 spectators at this Grand Prix. So good racing to look forward to. Just briefly as well, rugby, there's also 2 internationals being played. This weekend, it is Japan hosting Australia, and it will be the USA, United States of America, that will host New Zealand. That game is being played in Washington. No South African team in action in the United Rugby League this weekend. They've got a rest. And the 2 leading teams, Leinster, they're second on the log. Leinster will play Glasgow. That is today, and tomorrow it is Ulster that will play against Connaught. And those are some of the games that's been played in United Rugby League. And then also just to finish off some cycling news. Time don't allow to talk about that too long, but stage 5 today, that is the Absa Cape Epic, being cycled in around just outside Cape Town. It is in Wellington, closer to Wellington today. Yesterday it was 73 kilometers. Today is 84 kilometers, and they're climbing 2,900 meters. Almost 3 kilometers. So that is the cycling to look forward to. Have a great sporting weekend, everyone. Hope your team wins. Good luck with Arsenal tonight. Goodbye.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ari. Luck is certainly something I'll need. This is Still Africa. Good morning. Your headlines after the break. We've been streaming live from 7 a.m. and if you perhaps missed our top stories at the top of the hour or if you need a recap, worry not, here are the headlines. Youth yearning for independence fuel Western Sahara clashes. Zambia arrests 14 government officials over corruption. Eswatini tells mobile operators to suspend Facebook access after protests. Nearly 103 million COVID-19 vaccinations administered across the African continent. Egypt economy forecast to grow 5.1% in year to June, 5.5% in 2022-2023. In cricket, the ICC T20 World Cup continues with Namibia flying the Southern African flag with very important game against Ireland today. Those have been our stories.
We thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Africa Good Morning. Please be reminded that this particular show will repeat on our website from 8:30 to 9:30. Our website is called One Up 2. We also welcome your remarks regarding our show. You can email them to us. Our email is agm_2centsworth@nmh.com.na. Alternatively, our DMs are open on Facebook and Twitter. That's at Africa Good Morning. Please get vaccinated, wear your mask, and avoid unnecessary public gatherings. We are still in the middle of the pandemic. Play your part. On that note, is all my love, all my light.
Swera Jakanaka.